Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today I'm going to install Linux on the PlayStation 2. Now you might be wondering, Muta, why would you even do this? What is the point of this entire endeavor? Isn't the PlayStation 2 older than most of your fan base? I would probably wager to say yes, as depressing as that sounds, because that means I'm just getting decrepit and old. But the PlayStation 2 was, at the time, one of the best systems ever made. It was such a prominently amazing system that at one point there was actually really legitimate actual gaming journalism going on about would Saddam Hussein potentially use a PlayStation 2 to, I don't know, use UAVs, ICBMs, so on and so forth. There was some genuine-ass fear-mongering back in the day. Now, I'm proud to say that Saddam Hussein did not use the PlayStation 2 for nefarious purposes. In fact, if anything, Saddam Hussein got squad-wiped by, from what I understand, the hands of the United States military and the United States government, okay? So, you know, things were a lot different there. But the PlayStation 2 was, hands down, one of the most iconic systems for Sony at the time. And when it released, during its life cycle, I think it was the highest-selling console of that generation. And not only was it one of the highest-selling consoles of that generation, it was also the weakest system of that generation. Yeah, the PlayStation 2 was weaker than the GameCube and absolutely weaker than the original Xbox. But even though it was weak, that didn't stop the original PlayStation from having some absolute banger games, whether it be Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which at the time had a map that felt limitless. I mean, imagine growing up in that era and playing a Grand Theft Auto game with 2 more cities than you usually get, okay? All the features imaginable, but it's not just Grand Theft Auto. You had your hands on, PC ports of games like Deus Ex, which weren't great, by the way, but just the fact that they existed was all you kind of needed. And of course, let's not forget the beauty of Silent Hill 2, one of the greatest games, not just on the PlayStation 2, but of all time. These kind of games absolutely reveled in using the actual limitations of the PlayStation 2 to their advantage. And it was at the point where I feel like every, AAA publisher and every company imaginable was absolutely trying to one-up each other in the market of the PlayStation 2. And yeah, it's a decent enough system for its time, and the fact that some developers were able to render entire cities into it was absolutely a marvel of its time. But of course, the original PlayStation was not just one of the most prolifically awesome consoles, it was also a system that you could actually hack and run Homebrew on. Now, to be fair, the best system of that generation to hack and play around with was the original Xbox, okay? Chances are if you buy an original Xbox secondhand these days, there's a pretty good chance people have already hacked the original dashboard and you can run all forms of homebrews, emulators. Hell, you could use the original Xbox as a full-on media server in your house, okay? But the PlayStation 2 obviously was weaker. There were some options. So for instance, Free McBoot, for anybody that doesn't know, utilizes an actual exploit on the memory card of the PlayStation 2, and you can actually run custom homebrew right from the actual system. No mod chip, no nothing required. You can run custom burned DVDs if you wanted through things like ESR patching. Not that I'm advocating that in any capacity. Emulators, I believe you could play things like NES relatively well, but given the fact the PlayStation 2 was not the strongest system in the world, obviously it's not something that I would really even waste my time emulating on. If you want a perfect system, probably the PlayStation 3 custom firmware. You can pick up a PlayStation 3 relatively for cheap nowadays, and modifying one is not necessarily that difficult. But that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go look inside the PlayStation 2 Linux. So PS2 Linux was actually an official release, from what I understand, by Sony. It was actually a kit released by them in 2002 that allowed the PlayStation 2 console to basically be used as a personal computer. So not only did they give you the Linux operating system, a USB keyboard, and a mouse, but you could actually take advantage of that 40 gig hard drive in your PlayStation 2 for something more than Final Fantasy, I think it was 12 at the time, or was it? No, it was Final Fantasy 11. So up until this point, I wasn't really somebody that was going to do a video on this, because if you look up the price of Linux on PS2, if you just go to eBay real quickly, the actual kit itself will run you somewhere around $641, okay? Sometimes it might run you $611, depending on the version you go for. But if you wanted some beautiful discs, mind you, from Bubba Games, $250. Now look, I'm not necessarily strapped for cash here, but I'm not going to be absolutely paying hundreds of dollars for fucking Linux on the PlayStation 2, okay? This shit is supposed to be a novelty, and I'm going to treat it like a novelty. So at this moment in time, I kind of put this entire project on hold for a little bit. Until, of course, I found out through Vim's Lair, they actually had PlayStation 2 Linux available. Both discs uploaded recently. Now, my ass thought, maybe I could just download those discs, burn them to actual DVDs, and run them on the PlayStation 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, down this journey, I actually ended up picking up one of these optical, writable, devices for my PC. All right, so this is from what I understand, ZWiu. All right, a device from China. All right, I ran this obviously underneath virtual machines and layers of security, but I got a couple of DVDs, burned it to this, burned these discs, and unfortunately, I was greeted with the scary red screen of death. Now, usually if your PlayStation 2 disc is busted, or you insert something that isn't, designed for the PS2, it'll usually freak you out. The first time I saw this screen was when I was like, God damn, a kid at dark? Absolutely some scary stuff. You're being sent into the evil void. So before being sent into the evil void again, I decided I'm not going to give up on this adventure. My channel is not about giving up stupid tech projects like this, okay? If I'm getting Linux on the PlayStation 2, I'm fucking getting Linux on the PlayStation 2. So at this moment in time, everything started shifting to something else. And then I found out that there was actually a PlayStation 2 Linux distribution by the name of Black Rhino. So yes, there is still, I believe, somewhat of an active project of people developing Linux for the PlayStation 2. Now, currently it's on version 3.0 stable and 4.0 if you want to get into the experimental weeds. The fact that I'm running Linux in the first place is already amazing to me. So I'm going to run the simple, God's honest version of PlayStation Linux using version 3. Now, to get this basically to work, what I had to do was get a USB drive, something, 64 gigs or so. And what I did was I partitioned it manually underneath my computer. So basically, because we're running Linux, what I did was I created a home directory, home partition, a boot partition, and of course your swap space, which is around 200 megabytes. Once I did this, I basically took the ISO file, the live disk file for Black Rhino, and I copied the boot information, like VM Linus, the initial RAM disk, over to the boot directory, and then of course I copied the main Linux operating system files and binaries to the BlackRock directory, the home directory I made. And of course, I went into the default custom configuration settings and basically modified, devices for boot time, enabling swap space and whatnot. So if it sounds incredibly complicated doing that, it is. It can be. There was definitely some hair pulling. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Linux on the PlayStation 2. Now, I'm sorry for the guerrilla-style videography. Unfortunately, no matter what capture card I use, and I've tried a bunch, I cannot, for the life of me, capture Linux underneath it. Maybe there's something to do with the resolution on display here, but unfortunately, it just wasn't working. But thankfully, I actually have it, recorded off-screen with my phone. Now, I feel like this adds a little bit of... I feel like this just adds a little bit of old school YouTube charm to it. So I'm not going to really take this as a big L. But yeah, if you're wondering why I'm recording off screen, that's literally why. So here it is. I've got a mouse connected. Now, because of the PlayStation 2 FAT that I'm using, I have literally 2 USB ports. So one is for the actual USB key that runs the entire Linux OS. And this is going to be the reason why it's going to be really slow, because the USB controller on the PlayStation 2 is like 1.1. So it's really slow. I think it's less than a megabit per second transfer rate. And of course, I have a mouse connected. You can connect a keyboard, but there's a lot more you can do with just the mouse. So first things first, we've got multiple workspaces, so www and main. So of course, we've got a few applications, but of course, I'm gonna hit the music real quick, because I feel like starting some of that hot fire and seeing just like the capability. So this is desktop operating system. So at this point, we've basically turned our gaming console into, again, an actual functioning desktop computer. Now, of course, it's trying to play some Lana Del Rey, and obviously I'm not going to get Content ID struck over here, so we're just going to back out of that real quick. But if we go to our information panel, you can see that we're on GNU Windows Maker version 0.61.1. We're not even at version 1, okay? We're not even there. Now, of course, the thing about it, I believe this version of Linux is like 2.6.0, so this is old. But you can see that it comes with things like Mozilla Firefox. So if you have this connected through the network port to your actual internet, which unfortunately I don't have, you can actually browse the internet relatively well. So again, you got to mind the actual boot times for some of these programs. I am connected through a flash drive. This would be a lot faster if I had, modified my actual PlayStation 2 internal hard drive, but I didn't because I have some games stored on there, and I don't think I want to lose them just for a novelty. I actually much prefer playing some Vice City later. Now, there's other functions like Dillo. I don't even know what that is. And you've got Play YouTube Video and XMMS. And one thing is for sure, it's actually lagging. I think it's freezing up a little bit. It's trying to launch some programs, and it's really not having a good time. So here is Dillo, for instance, which is apparently one browser. And it seems pretty lightweight, almost reminds me of shit like Netscape, for instance. And of course it says DNS can't resolve google.com because we're not connected to anything. But yes, you can browse the web on your PlayStation 2 if you wanted to, okay? Not saying that I think anybody would really choose to do this, but it's an option. I think it's interesting because they've got a system load here, so I might want to open this up and just see how much of my system is being absolutely tanked. So there's 32 megabytes of onboard memory for the PlayStation 2, but there's also 200 megs of swap space, and I'm wagering we're using a lot of that swap space right now. And the fact that it's all on the flash drive, that poor USB is just getting absolutely tanked right now, boys. Do we got a graph here? Oh my god. Oh, it's loading up top, bro. It's giving me that toppy top. Oh my god. Oh my, the window, dude, Firefox alone is using like, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I don't think Firefox is gonna load up, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah, you can see that, it's got a whole, like, it's got a few threads over here. And obviously this poor system is getting absolutely demolished right now. Look at this like poor graph over here. This like manifestation of the PlayStation 2 processor going apeshit. Okay, let's try emulators. Oh my, wait, let's actually see applications. So what they've loaded up in this beyond just internet stuff is obviously a PDF opener. They've got file runner, GV. They've got a torrent manager, dude. They've actually legit got like a torrent client waiting for people on this. So yeah, if you wanted to, I guess, torrent on the PlayStation 2, that's, oh my god, Firefox is loading up. Oh my god. Oh my god. I think it's crashing it, dude. I think it actually is genuinely crashing the system. Jesus Christ. Okay, I think the actual system really froze, so we're going to restart the actual entire process here real quick and just try to get back into Linux and see what else it has to offer. So, moral of the story, okay? If you're running it off of a flash drive, which that poor flash drive is getting absolutely tanked, don't run Firefox. In fact, don't run really any heavy program, okay? Just don't do that. So after a near 5-6 minute long boot time, yeah, I'm not exaggerating there, we're back into the action. So what have I learned? No Firefox and no playing YouTube videos. That's not happening on this channel, all right? God damn. But of course, if we fire up, we got access to a virtual keyboard. And of course, more importantly, we have got GIMP, okay? So, you know the Super Nintendo had like Microsoft Paint or some shit? Well, we actually have the ability to do some light Photoshop work underneath the PlayStation 2. So if you wanted to, edit a photo, if you wanted to make, this video's thumbnail, for instance, as much as it would suck, it's probably doable right underneath the PlayStation 2 Linux, okay? So it's loading up GIMP version 1.2. I can't even begin to tell you how outdated this is. But if it's one thing you've noticed, the actual... It crashed again, dude! It crashed again! God damn! GIMP wait, hold on. Did it actually crash, or is it like... Did it actually crash, or is it just frozen loading? Extension script dot fuck you. Oh boy! I swear to God, guys, I think I'm gonna lose it if I have to restart this every time. Because let me tell you something, these boot times are getting longer and longer. So let's go down the road. Okay, so we've got like emulators over here. So we've got DOSBox, we've got FreeDOS, and C64 emulator. So I guess if you wanted to open up DOSBox, and again, one thing I've noticed is also VNC viewers. So if you wanted to patch into like a different system, you clearly can. But as you can see, DOSBox is firing up, and it's trying to initialize. Now, this means that you should be able to run like certain DOS games underneath this. I'm sure that you could probably get like, if I'm not mistaken, you probably could be able to get like Doom functioning underneath this, but yeah, it's just lagging. Like, look at it, it's literally the laggiest system right here. And in fact, there's just, oh wait, no, is it functioning up again? I think it's just like trying to initialize anything for this kind of a system is too much. But yeah, DOSBox is currently trying to breathe. But if you look into the menu over here, you've got other things like editors, you've got utilities, you've got selections. So wait, can we actually, is it fired up? Look at it, it's giving me like CPU cycles, everything. Program, DOSBox. It's taking its time, man. Type command to run. I'm not giving any command here. Okay, so DOSBox is currently still trying to function, but as it's firing up, oh my god, it's so bad, dude. Wait, no, it actually did fire up. Look at that. Look at that. You have a yeah, dude, we got a functioning program finally. You got DOSBox, dude. It only took half an hour to get this thing functioning. Jesus. Now, if you wanted to again play, I'm sure if it took this long to initialize DOSBox, I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, running things like Daggerfall must be a cakewalk for this. So I wouldn't even bother wasting my time there. But of course, you've got different editors, so text editors, you've got utilities. So, you know, if you wanted to system update, which, how far can you even go? You've also got selection tools, like copying is a thing here. iToy. So for anybody that forgets, the PlayStation had a little webcam, like the iToy video, iToy audio, and I think there was like a couple games that allowed. I had an iToy growing up, but yeah, if you have the iToy, you can record video on it. Okay, how good the quality of that video will look? Well, I'm sure nothing great whatsoever. But again, you can also modify the system too. So you've got different themes. We've got Steel Blue Silk. Okay, wait, is it? It's literally trying to change. Oh wait, no, it changed the theme. Okay, it didn't crash totally. I actually kind of like this theme a fair bit. You've got styles, Blue Dawn, black texture. Oh, give me that black texture style, baby. Oh, that's not black texture. That's not even close to black texture. That's such a lie. Give me brown. What's the difference between that's not even brown, bro? This isn't even brown. This is a lie, bro. Give me brownish. Okay. I mean, I guess it's better than regular brown. Gee, I guess it is technically brownish, right? Jesus Christ. But of course, we've also got style. Oh, buddy. Okay, we've got a lot more styles to work with. Okay, so I think the styles is literally like the header, and that's effectively about it. So again, background. Let's look at the wallpapers here, dude. Images. What images does it have? Crest stars? Show me the stars, baby. Give me those stars in my face. So I guess as it's changing, okay. Oh my god. The thing is, like, trying to load, like, it's literally trying to load an actual image. It actually is just trying to load an image right now, and it's crashed doing that, or at least it's hung. Like, this is insane. Okay, PlayStation Linux is insane. And the thing about PlayStation Linux is obviously beyond this. There's not much more other than, I guess, just laughing and looking at this thing as like a novelty. Obviously, do I expect anybody back in the day to be using this thing as a genuine operating system experience? Probably not. I think this is why it took forever to load, by the way. That is a distinctly massive image for what it's. I don't even know what it is. It looks like it's from some anime. But the thing is, obviously, for people who were using PlayStation Linux unironically back then, I don't think there's many people. But Sony didn't give up on this idea, and obviously they carried it over to like PlayStation 3 with PS3 Linux. And so of course Sony took that away. But there was a period where Sony was absolutely embracing the idea of effectively having, like other systems. They were effectively embracing the idea of selling you a game console, but at a way giving you the ability to do more with it, which was actually using it as a proper desktop computer. And something that I expected, maybe Microsoft to be doing with the Xbox, Sony decided to do it before any other developer here. And obviously, this whole you use your console as a desktop pretty much faded out with the release of the PlayStation 4 because no system has really allowed you to do this. Now, I think it would be sick if Microsoft, with their virtualization technology, would eventually allow you to use a portion of your Xbox as a Windows 10 gaming PC, because that, ladies and gentlemen, I think has some serious bones on it. Imagine playing PC versions of your favorite shooters with your friends with the Xbox. That would be impressive, but that's a whole different separate story. This is PlayStation 2 Linux, so if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.